Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it's time for week 20 over on our Mission Inspiration Facebook group, and the prompt this week is time. So let me turn over to my overhead camera, I'll read through the prompt with you and I'll talk through what I'm going to do for my art journal page for this week. Okay, so the prompt for week 20 is time. So embrace the flow of moments, each a single thread in life's tapestry. Like a river, let time guide your journey with patience. Be aware of each moment, for in the passage of time, find joy and discovery. Cherish every heartbeat, as each tick of the clock holds the potential for growth and wisdom. So there we go. There's the oracle quote for this week. Obviously your prompt, it just shows some clocks, because how else can you kind of depict the time and the passing of time? You can't really, apart from using a clock or something like that. Or there are other ways, an hourglass, etc, etc. So when I first read this, because I did this so long ago now, I can't remember every quote. So when I reread it this morning, I thought, all right, okay. But what kept sticking in my head was a song to do with time-ish, and it's a bit quirky and a bit fun, and I thought I'm gonna go with it today. So why not? So I'm gonna put this to one side, because this is the side I'm going to be building my page onto, and I've cut myself some mixed media cardstock, which I'm going to stick down on the front of it, so that my prompt card is going to be on the back, like I have done with previous weeks in my journal so far. And my journal is now getting quite thick for this year already. As you can see, we've started a second signature. So the second signature started last week with week 19 on that one. So week 20 will go in here. I'm not sure whether I'll get all 52 weeks in there, but the plan is if I do 18 weeks per signature, I should get 52 in. So anyway, that's the hope. It may be a vain one, but that's the hope. Right, so I've cut a piece of mixed media cardstock from a Dale Arowney pad, which is this one. So that's 250 GSM or £169. And I've just cut it to the appropriate size for my page. So what I want to try and do, I'm going to build up another kind of mixed media background, a layered paper background. So I've gone into my dictionary this morning and I've pulled out a few pages. That one just happened to be stuck on the back of all the others. It was just those two pages really. And I've got the word time on this one. So I'm going to cut fragments of this paper to stick down onto my background. But first, what I want to do is just add a little bit of paint and a little bit of grunge, if you like, onto the background. So my palette for today is kind of going to be warm tones, so ochres, oranges, with pops of blue. So that's going to be the overall hope for this page. So I'm going to just mix a little bit of acrylic paint with a little bit of water on my desktop, grab a paintbrush. I've just realized I've left all of my paintbrushes in the bathroom where I cleaned them earlier, which isn't good, but hey ho. It happens, stuff happens. So I'm going to just haphazardly and randomly just paint with this colour around on the page. And yes, it will start to buckle, because that's what watercolour and mixed media cardstock does. I'm going to grab some orange and I'm going to drop some of that on there as well. Put some water on there. Now I could have wet the back of the paper just to mitigate the amount of buckling, but yeah, do you know what? Does it really matter? So I'm going to concentrate mostly around going on the edges, because I want most of those covered up. The edges, that is, because I'm going to be building into the center, which is why I'm not going too mad making sure I've got every kind of bit covered, but I do want the edges of the page doing. There we go. That'll do nicely. All right, so again, we're going to need to tidy up and clean up, do a little bit of drying. So I'll do that and then I'll be right back. Just talk amongst yourselves. All right, so that is kind of dry now. So what I want to do is come back in with these strips of dictionary paper. Let's just do them a bit kind of fragmented, and I'm going to glue them down. I was going to use some spirit glue, but I think I'm going to use glue stick now. So where's my scratch paper? There we go. I'm not particularly bothered about creases or rips or anything like that. Don't really care today, because that's not what we're going for. I'm going for kind of distress, grunge, a bit of wrinklage. That's fine by me. And I don't particularly want to get everything stuck down evenly either. So I want a little bit of lifting texture. Let's do some smaller bits. I'm going to be doing a little bit of stamping as well in a second. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of a brand new stamp set that I'm going to be releasing through Indigo Blue in the next couple of weeks or so. And then maybe just another little cluster down here in the bottom. Just because I put glue on my fingers. Get off! Oh dear me. It's one of them days. It's one of those days. Alright, so let's just have a little bit of a cluster down there as well. I want another little piece up here somewhere. Now, all will be revealed, but I've also got another page here, and I've got the word horror on this. Was it on this one, or is it? There it is. So I've also got the word horror, which I'm going to include in the page somewhere. Now then, so people's brains should be working overtime now. So what connection is there with the word horror and the word time? What could it be, I wonder? Well, all will be revealed if your brain hasn't automatically just clicked on to where my mind has already gone. Right, we've got that there. So I want to add some paint over the top of that again. So let's just grab some more of that yellow ochre. Yellow ochre from True Ochre from Deco Art Americana, by the way. The orange that I used was also called Bright Orange, also from the same company, Deco Art Americana. Just in case you were wondering. Alright, so let's grab a brush. You may have noticed that my paint pot has suddenly arrived. So while I was drying that, I also nipped into the bathroom and just grabbed it. So I want to add some of that in the background. Just kind of grunge that up a little bit, just to get rid of that whiteness a little bit. Okay, so while that's still wet, I'm going to grab some brushed corduroy, put that onto the worktop, grab some water, and just activate that for some darkness. Just a bit of grunge, and we're going to add quite a bit of grunge to this page today, in one form or another. So let me just get rid of that. Okay, let me just quickly get that dry. Okay, so not happy with the level of brown and grunge on that, so we're going to do it again. A bit more brushed corduroy, quick spritz of water, and then I'm going to smush it because I want a kind of random pattern. There we go, that's more like it. A bit more random. Pick it up. There we go. All right, so I've got that dried now, but it's not enough. I want to do more. I want more. So let's just do another layer. Just quickly. Dry my fingers, flip it over. This time I'll try and pick some up. I'm just going to hold it for a second, just to see, there we go, just to see whether or not it will just kind of sit on that surface a bit more. That's, I'm just round here. Now I know I'm smushing it. There we go. All right, so that's kind of dry. So we've got a little bit more depth and texture in the background there now, which is brilliant. So now I want to add in some stamping. So this is where I introduce you to a new stamp set. So this is called Journaling Textures. So there's 3 stamps on here. You've got those little circles, or grungy circles. There's this kind of net effect stamp here, which you will also, if you've been looking at my stencils recently, seen one which is very, very similar to this in stencil form, but it's a mask really, and it's the same. It's 5.5 by 8 inches. So again, great shape. I'm just making the most of what I've got. And then we've got some broken book text here, but it's French book text, and it's actually taken from a vintage copy of Jules Verne's I can't remember which book it is. It might be the one about going to the moon. I can't remember. Anyway, that I photographed and scanned and then distressed and turned into a texture stamp. So we're going to use that. So I've got a little stamping block here. So I'm just going to put that onto there. Grab some VersaFine Clair. This is Fallen Leaves, so this is brown. And then I'm just going to, in fact, no, let's leave it on the stamp block and just add a little bit of stamp texture into the background as well. That, love it. So we've got some there, and also maybe just a little bit up there to coincide with that book text there. All right, so let me just grab a cloth. Okay, so that's the book text one. I'll clean that off in a moment, but I also want to use this kind of circular one, which fits perfectly onto the new stamp blocks. These are new stamp blocks, which are again ergonomically designed, so you've got both fingers. You can do double-handed stamping. All right, so this time we'll just quickly kind of stamp lightly down, just to give us that little bit of grunge. take that one off and then stick our grid pattern back on. So all three fit just nicely on this stamping block. And then for this one, we can come in with just a little bit of random stamping, just to give you that little bit of texture kind of in the background. And I've only stamped, so we didn't go very hard there, did we? Let's do that one again. There we go. Ah, it's more like it. Okay, so I'll clean those stamps off, just clean my worktop, and then I'll be right back. Bum, bum, bum. Hi ho, it's off to work we go. All right, so just to reiterate, these will be available from Indigo Blue and all Indigo Blue stockists all over, including those companies in the States and also in Europe now as well, because they've got a distributor through Holland. So my stamps will now be available through any kind of outlet that Indigo Blue are selling through. But these will be available also on the Indigo Blue website and on my website as well in a couple of weeks' time. So there'll be this set and 2 others. I know, exciting stuff, isn't it? Right, so enough of that plug-in for now. So let's get on to adding in my focal points, my collage items for this art journal page. So I want a clock. So the clock, I did say I was going to go kind of greens, not greens, oranges and kind of browns today, didn't I? So that's exactly what we've done. I'm just trying to find what I've done with my, there we go, my inking foams. So let's grab that brushed corduroy again. I keep saying to myself, I'm really going to have to replace my vintage photo because it got stolen, mentioning no names, but looking in Ian's direction, a while ago, and I just never bothered to replace it because I had other colours like brushed corduroy and gathered twigs and ground espresso and all that kind of stuff. But you know, being a sort of completist, I really ought to get some vintage photo back in my collection. All right, so we're going to stick this clock down now. So I will this time use spirit glue. Now, have I opened this? I have opened this one, so we'll put a little dot. I haven't used spirit glue for such a long time. Mainly because it started soaking through the paper and coming through the other side. Not so much of an issue now. I think it was only with the stuff that I printed myself. So let's get that clock down there. Yeah, it is coming through. I can feel it already on the front. Yeah, maybe I'm going to stick to dry glue when I'm doing collages in future. Yeah, it's squidging out as well. But at least it just rubs away. All right. So there is our clock. So I've also got a little birdie image, just to kind of signify and symbolize the fact that time does fly as well. In fact, I think a better word to describe time in this context is going to be fleeting. There we go. So that's another clue. So we have time, fleeting, and the word horror. What could it be? So I hope there's some people at home going, yep, got it. I know exactly where you're going with this. So I hope so anyway, because only people of a certain age will understand what I'm talking about. And I'm going to put it up there in the corner, just as a kind of symbol of time flying. Okay, so the next one is going to be a character. It's going to be a person that I'm going to stick onto the page. And this is where you'll get it if you haven't got it already. So, the clock and our friend Richard O'Brien from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So if you're of a certain age, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, look it up. All right. So let's just go around the edges there a little bit. I'm just going to try and get just... I've not gone too close on the cutout on this one. Originally, this photograph was a black and white still, a behind the scenes still from the 1974 movie. But because I didn't want a black and white photo, I brought it into my Adobe Photoshop, and there's a new filter on Adobe Photoshop now that allows you to colorize black and white photos. So I got it to colorize the photo because I didn't want a black and white one. I know, isn't technology wonderful? You can now add colour where there was none before. All right, so let's grab that glue stick. So if you don't know, this character is called Riff Raff, played by actor Richard O'Brien, who also wrote the show and starred in it as Riff Raff. Character of Riff Raff. Love it. All right, so that's going to be that. So and I've just realised I've left my scissors over there. Never mind, I'll use a different pair. So my quote for this page is the opening 3 lines from the song, the Timewarp song, because it's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll, which it does. And of course, to those that know, you'll now have that as an earworm all day today. Or I hope so anyway. Can't believe it, 1974. Hey, 50 years. Can you believe? It is astounding. Time is fleeting. 50 years. Wow. Eh? And I had heard recently that Tim Curry's not very well, who was the other main actor. So here's to a speedy recovery, Tim. So I'll just stick that on there. And then put that just there. So what I also want to do is just go around the edges of the page, just adding in a little bit of grunge. So we'll just start off just around the edges. Okay, so let's do a quick tidy, a quick wipe up, put my glue sticks and inks away, and then I'll be back. All right, I've got a quick tidy up. So what I want to do just to finish off is, it's typical, is just to add a few white splatters. So I'm just going to take, actually I'm going to take the paint from the side of that pot now that I've just managed to slap and slather it everywhere. Mix it with that white there, that water. And then I'm just going to hold my hand over the top of Richard. Turn it round. Yep, that'll do. And again, I think that's time to go in the trash can. Okay, let me just get that dried off, get all this tidied up and cleaned, and I'll be right back. All right, so all that is now dry. So what I've done is I've just added some double-sided tape onto the back of the page, because I think adding a bit more moisture, a bit more glue to the back of this probably will just make it buckle even more. So instead, so what I'm going to try and do is just center it as best I can on the page without getting my head in shot too much, and that should theoretically secure it so it's on the front of that bit now. But there we go. So yeah, I've really enjoyed doing today's art journal page. It has been a lot of fun on this dank and dreary kind of Saturday afternoon. Now, I did think about adding some of the distress paint, the salvaged patina, on there, but actually I don't think I'm going to bother. I think there's enough of a pop of colour on that clock without adding anything else on it. So just in case you were wondering, I did have that out to add some blue into the background, but like I said, don't think I'll bother. You can just see in the background the word time up there, and you can also just make out the word horror there. So hopefully that does pay homage a little bit to our friends who created the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this art journal page today. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, because it really does help me and the channel get found by other people who may not normally have seen me. Don't forget, you can share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. I've also popped the URL on screen here of the Mission Inspiration Facebook group, where we are this year doing weekly art challenges in the form of those little oracle cards, which you can download and collect. Excuse me. So there will also be a clickable link in the description area, or below the video anyway, depending on where you're viewing this one, either on my blog or on YouTube or even on Facebook. So that's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. I just need to sign and date it later, but I must remember to do it. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.